Hello, welcome into Health Max Abroad. It's going to be a great show today. This is the first in a series that I really can't wait to get into. I'm going to be grading 10 or 11 countries where I've spent a lot of time over the last several years. I've been all throughout Southeast Asia and Eastern Europe. So today we're going to be covering Thailand, of course, and we're going to be using a vitality score. It's going to be based on 9 different criteria, and then we'll produce a composite score so you can sort of objectively look at these different countries and compare. And these criteria I think they're going to be very useful to you in terms of whether you want to spend a lot of time in a place, whether you want to live in a place for an extended period of time. Criteria such as air quality, visa bureaucracy, access to healthy food, just to name a few, cost of living. Go over all these different criteria and give you the score at the end. And my only caveat here is that with Thailand, I just want to say that I spent most of my time in sort of central southern Thailand, not really in the north. I've spent most of the time in Bangkok, Phuket, and Koh Samui. I've been down a little bit to, say, Hua Hin, Cha Am, but not enough in some of those places to really render a verdict. The 3 other places I've mentioned for the majority of the time. And it seems like every time I've been in Thailand, I've kind of been around the spring season, which is you don't want to go up to Chiang Mai. I've had a couple of friends that have been in Chiang Mai and really rave about it, but they get out, of course, during this burning season, which is January through April, March being the worst of all. But you don't want to be anywhere near Chiang Mai at that time. The burning season, which I think Laos and Myanmar and northern Thailand all burn their agricultural crops at the end of the season with a lot of sugar cane, corn gets burned, but it creates this massive smoke. And the smoke, due to the geography there, the topography, Chiang Mai is surrounded by this mountain range. It sits in this flat basin. All the mountain air, this cold mountain air, just traps this warm smoke and keeps it within this basin, and you just have to breathe and walk around in this air. And it's also, as I mentioned, dry season, so it's just no rain can disperse any of these particulates. So it's just really a bad mix, and the air quality measure just plummets to some of the worst in the world at that time in March. So you don't want to be anywhere near Chiang Mai at that time. So maybe if I go another time later in the year, I'll get up there. I know, lucky enough, central, southern Thailand don't feel any of the effects of the burning season in Chiang Mai. Central Thailand has a bit of their own burning season that sort of affects in December and January. Even around Bangkok, they have a burning season. A lot of the sugar cane gets burned, and then you mix that with all the manufacturing base there. It can create a smog layer, which can persist for a couple of months. But other than that, and we'll get into air quality at a greater depth coming up, but I just want to give that caveat before we get into it. But as I mentioned, this channel is all about finding the healthiest place to live. That's been the pursuit. Still in that pursuit. I'm in the Philippines now, but still evaluating, and I'm going to pass on all that information. Hopefully you find it really useful. I think it really help you out. But that's the aim of this channel, so let's look at it from that lens, and let's get into Thailand right now. Here we go. Let's start with cost of living first. Always a great place to start. The night markets. We'll get more to the night markets in a minute when we talk about food. But let's just talk about living for a minute. You can find a 1-bedroom in the city center in Bangkok for about $660. That's for a 90 square meter apartment. In Koh Samui, it's about $520. And Phuket, it's about $620. And the average cost for a 90 square meter apartment for electricity in a month is about $80. So you're looking pretty good there on the expenses. When you add things up, you can live as a single person easily, I think, for $1,500 in any of these cities. Especially when we talk about the food, you'll see just how cheap it is. But other things that are imported can be a bit more. You see that we've got cost of living at 7.5. Healthcare access is at 9. And Thailand's an international destination for healthcare. 1.1 million people come into the country for healthcare just alone. And they have JCI accredited facilities. One in Bangkok is world famous Bumrungrad facility. And you can walk in to see a specialist anywhere from out of pocket from $40 to $80. That's about a 75% savings of what it would take in the US to do the same. So it's really cheap in terms of healthcare access, and you can get onto health insurance rolls for about $480 a year, depending on what level of plan, but you don't have access to public institutions. But you can get a full wellness panel for about $450, in Bangkok. So really inexpensive, and really good value for the money. And then let's look further. When we look at healthy food, as I said, you have to consider the night markets. You can get a great meal in the night markets, $2 to $3, fresh fish, young raw coconuts, vegetables right from the farm. Just watch what they're cooking it. So for that, I gave it a 7 out of 10, because sometimes it's difficult to ascertain what they are cooking in, and it can be a little more difficult to find really healthy sort of premium food. So that docks it a little bit, but overall, when you talk about the fruit, you talk about the mangoes, which are absolutely delicious all over Thailand. The fruit itself is really outstanding. And then the rest of the food, the beef, you can find really good beef. A lot of beef places have excellent deals where they give you a full smorgasbord for about $11 it'll cost for all you can eat beef, and then all the vegetables, kimchi that you want. So the food, I keep it at a 7, but it kind of depends on what your tastes are. You can always spend more. There's a Michelin star restaurant in Phuket called Pru I went to one time and got out of there for about $200. But you can find a nice mid-level, really dining out meal for about $25. Or you can dine at a lower level for about $10. Let's move on to climate. Climate's a tough one. Sorry, let's move on to air quality. Air quality is definitely a tough one. With Chiang Mai, what I mentioned in Bangkok, it's the 33rd worst country in the world in terms of pollution. And that's factoring in a lot of the Chiang Mai. So it skews the numbers a bit. So it's not entirely reliable, especially if you get down south, you get to the islands, you're going to have great air quality. So actually we're going to give air quality a 5 because of there is a lot of exhaust and a lot of manufacturing in Bangkok, but a lot of the scooter traffic and a lot of the traffic congestion in general leads to lower air quality. You get a lot of smog. That's kind of indicative of what you would see, I believe, in Chiang Mai, but you can see something like that in those months that I mentioned in Bangkok in January and February. So that's something to keep in mind as well. And then the climate, as I mentioned, if you like heat, you're in the right place, and you like humidity, it can get really hot and humid. But and some days getting up to about 40 degrees Celsius. So you're looking at some hot days, and it can get really oppressive at times. But you're not going to get cold. It's not going to be winter anytime, and you get some relief. And when the rain comes in rainy season, it can be a downpour, torrential downpour for many days in a row. And then that leads to outdoor recreation. We've got a 7.5. There is a lot of recreation. There's a lot of hiking, a lot of good hiking, especially in the north when you get out to some of the more remote spots. You have to watch out for certain things like leeches out there in the jungle around some of these hiking spots. So some of them you have to proceed with caution. But in general, there is a fair amount of hiking. Obviously, you have the beautiful beaches. Obviously, you get into southern Thailand, as I mentioned, the beaches are incredible. And if that's where you stay during your stay, you'll love the outdoor activities. And then, as I mentioned too, it kind of ties into the fitness culture, and that a lot of people take a run. When they hike, they run. They can find their ways to waterfalls. The waterfalls are beautiful right around Phuket. You have some nice waterfalls up toward Chiang Mai. This one is called Nam Pan, I believe, and that one is one you do have to watch out for the leeches there. At least that's the word I've heard. I've never been there personally, but a couple of guys I know there say they have they've encountered a few leeches, which could be a whole other issue. And then you have islands like Phi Phi, where it's so beautiful, the water is so crystal clear, and the limestone cliffs. But the air quality is great there, and you're going to have so many different hikes you can go on, and so many different ways to enjoy the landscape and nature. So that's one of the great things about the Philippines. One of the things I really love. And then we have to get down. What we're going to get into next is the visa and the bureaucracy. Oh, just one more point on the fitness. The fitness there is pretty good, but it's not, I wouldn't say, as advanced as a place as somewhere like Bali, where the gyms are at another level. The gyms here are pretty good. They're not really that forward thinking, I wouldn't say. I would say they're pretty nice, but you're not going to find a place that has a gym, most of them with an ice bath, with a sauna, with full recovery, like you find in Bali. The prices are pretty moderate, $40 to $50, so that's much better than Bali. Bali place you can play up. I paid up to $250 a month at a place called Body Factory. But some of the gyms here in Phuket, they're nice enough. They're multi-level, they're well maintained, and lots of equipment, but I wouldn't say it's a culture that necessarily is that far advanced in terms of that. But the Muay Thai there is obviously another part of the fitness culture, which is so ingrained into the culture, the ethos of the people. But if you don't have any injuries, that's a great exercise. That's a great workout. Now the visa bureaucracy. I'm going to put down here a 6 out of 10. Because now, in May 2026, they did amend the tourist visa down to 30 days from 60 days, so that's a bit of an issue. But it's just there's a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of red tape involved in making sure, and things change rapidly, and you may not know if something's changed until it happens. But they do have a new visa that they're offering, and I believe it offers you 5 years. It's called a Destination Thailand visa. But for that visa, you've got to park about 500,000 Thai baht into a Thai bank, which is roughly $14,000. So that's a bit of an issue, and it does require a lot of intense paperwork, and they do have to make sure that that bank balance is frozen at that level. So the application with the paperwork, it's a lot. It just creates. If you can get that visa, it'd definitely be worth looking into. But it is a newer issue, so I haven't heard as much about how streamlined they've made it, but based on what I've experienced there, working with immigration, it can be a real hassle. So that's something that's kind of kept me out of Thailand at times, from staying longer, of course. And then there's kind of the expat community and dating there, and the nightlife. I would say it's really strong. I would give it overall, I'd give it a 7.5, but I think overall you're going to find many ways to meet people. There are a lot of different community efforts, a lot of Facebook groups. I played tennis when I was there and met a lot of people through tennis and paddle. So there are a lot of different ways to meet people out. You can just meet people organically a lot, especially in Bangkok. But overall, I'm giving the entire Thailand grade, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. And some may be a little surprised that's a little bit low, but that's where I'm landing on a 7 out of 10. Here's something I did in Thailand that is certainly, I think, unique to Thailand. I haven't seen anywhere else. Is this cobra show. And you can tell from that camera angle right there, I'm really close. It's actually a little scary. The other people with me did not even want to come into the arena. It was that scary. This cobra was not sedated, I can tell you, this big king cobra. He was pretty quick and twitchy. The other smaller cobras, I think, were probably sedated. They just showed the 3 that were lined up. They didn't seem to be after anyone. But this guy had a little red ass going. He was kind of hot. And these trainers, it's amazing. They've got bites all over them. They have these spots where they've been bitten. I don't know. Their arms are halfway swollen, but they don't care. They love it. They seem to think they have real tight control over these cobras. But like I say, the other people that were there, as close as you are, and they kind of play with you a little bit. The trainers acting as if they're going to let the cobra come say hello to you. So it really is kind of a shocking show. And then this is another reserve we went to with the big elephants. These guys are really calm, really cool. They let you feed them peanuts, all the peanuts. You can feed them all day long. These elephants aren't as big as the big gray ones in Africa, but I forget how many tons, but that picture doesn't really do it justice in terms of size. There I am, you can see, but he's quite a massive fella. But that was a lot of fun. And then this was the real, this was something. I went in this cage with 2 of these guys, 2 of these Bengal tigers, and they were actually brothers. And before I went in there, they were fighting. They were standing up on 2 feet, pawing at each other, roaring at this visceral roar, which I really felt all the way down into my loins. And so I was really not sure if I wanted to go in there. But I was the only guy actually in my group that actually went in. But once I got in there, the tiger that right there you see me with was really cool, Samson. He kind of chilled out once he had this little spat with his brother, and everything was cool, and he didn't seem to mind me being there or walking next to him. But I don't know if I'd recommend it for the faint of heart. It's quite a shock. And you can see the size of this guy. He's a full-grown Bengal, maybe close to probably 400 pounds plus. It's hard to really let you know the size of that guy's head. It was really something. But that's Thailand. That's Thailand in a nutshell. It was anytime I'm with Samson.
Oscar. Pick it up the tail and follow, bro. Yeah, pick up.
Pick up tail.
Up, up.
Pick. Oh yes.
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 On.
So that was quite an experience. But that wraps up Thailand. That's the first of these videos. It was a little bit rough. We'll get the editing a little bit better on these videos, but really enjoyed doing it. I think that gives you a good objective measurement of Thailand. Any questions about it or comments, please let me know. And if you plan on going to Thailand, let me know. I go back to Thailand at least once every year. Love it there, and try to go to a new spot. I'm gonna try to go to Chiang Mai later in the year this year, probably in the next 3 months. But any comments, let me know. Again, subscribe to Health Max Abroad. A lot more of this coming, a lot more great information coming. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon. See ya.